Illinois blows out UCLA in a nail-biter close game. What? What was that?
You are Locked On Illini, your daily podcast on the Illinois Fighting Illini. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome all to another post-game edition of Locked On Illini. This one, I think the mood should be a little bit better. Illinois with the victory 83-78 over the UCLA Bruins of red-hot UCLA Bruins. This is a very solid basketball team, and I think I'm very excited about this win, and I can't wait to talk about it in just a second. If you haven't already, when I hit record on this video, we were at 2,099 subs. Let's get one more so that we can hit 2,100 subs on YouTube. Guys, I would appreciate it so much. Obviously, I go live after each and every game. Games like today, very easy. I feel like the conversation is going to be nice and pleasant, but I'll even go live on games that we lose. And, that's just because you guys continue to show me the support. And so I'm just trying to show you guys the reverse support as well. Okay, so let's just get started. 83-78, a game that I couldn't understand. I felt great about the game the whole time, but I was yet nervous. And if you're in my Discord, that's what I kept saying. And if you're not in the Discord, the link is in the description. Basically, we'd be going up 6 points. We'd be up 10 points. We'd be up 14 points. But then every time that would happen, UCLA would come back. And I'm not that surprised. And this is why I'm really I just have to say it. I'm really starting to turn the corner on this basketball team. Today was a game that they had to win because UCLA was not going to lose this game. And you saw it today. UCLA reminds me a lot of Michigan State in the sense that they are always going after it. They're always constantly hustling. They're diving for loose balls. And they don't really have a quit gene in them. They've got one of the best coaches in all of college basketball, not just the Big Ten, Mick Cronin, who just wouldn't allow that. And that's what you saw today. It was a team where a lot of other teams that have been on Illinois' schedule would have quit at some point, especially with the way Illinois was playing. Illinois is clearly the better team today. I don't think anyone's going to argue with me saying that. But Bilodeau, just a career night, 25 points, 9 of 17 from field goals, 7 of 12 from three-point lands. He single-handedly kept them close. But again, we're talking about now that it's just Illinois fans paying attention to this Illinois basketball team and a lot of the national media off focusing on, other teams like Michigan beating Purdue tonight, which, of course, is great for any Illini fan. We get to kind of slowly enjoy this journey of what I think is happening is like a season turnaround right now. The team looks relatively healthy. Now I say that, and as soon as I said that, I just got flashbacks of watching Kasparis grab his right knee. So hopefully there's nothing to that. I'm sure we're going to find out in the next day or two. I'm sure somebody's going to ask Brad about that in the post-game press conference. So hopefully that's not an issue. But overall, the team is getting healthier. We didn't see Trey White again today. Again, I'm assuming because of the same lingering illness that he had last week. But DGL had 7 minutes today. But just there's no more injuries lingering, right? Like we know Ivisic is hurt, but Ivisic is playing hurt. And he's talked about this before, that as long as he knows that there's no further risk of getting hurt, he's going to play through the pain. And playing through the pain is exactly what he did. I've said it before, and come on, my everydayers in here. How many times does Stephen Bardo say that Kasparis might be the best player on this team, but Tommy Ivisic is the most important? I've been saying that since the beginning of the season. And so hearing someone who I respect so incredibly much, someone who's been on the show, Illini legend, Stephen Bardo saying the exact same thing, I'm just so glad other people are really starting to recognize it. Tommy, again, game-saving rebound at the end of the game. And, he went 4 for 6 from three-point land. He does everything. He's never going to have the best stat line at the end of the day, but he's the guy who you'll notice almost each and every time, like, oh, there's a Tommy. Tommy did something again. Tommy did something again. I joke around about Trey White, how he'll have 17 points, 7 rebounds, and you won't even notice him. Tommy's the opposite. Tommy doesn't necessarily show up in the box scores. I mean, 16, 7, and 3, not too bad. But it's just his impact on this basketball team. You see it all the time, and you see just how valuable he is, and just his age, right? Him being 21 years old, he's going to be robbed of having a chance to be on the All Big Ten freshman team because the NCAA is just making up rules for whatever odd reason. But this is a guy who we know is playing with a super swollen ankle and just playing crucial minutes. And he's the guy 4 for 6 from 3-point land. I believe he was 2 for 2 last game. So that makes him 6 for his last 8 from 3-point land right now. The only one really hitting 3-pointers. By the way, the team itself today, 11 of 28. So the struggles percentage-wise continue. 28 is still probably more than we wanted to shoot. But, you still got the job done. And that's important. And that's actually what I'm going to get to now. This UCLA basketball team is a good one. They'd won 7 in a row. They were one of the hottest teams in the entire Big Ten Conference, them and Purdue. And as I mentioned before, they've got a motor that never shuts off. I don't know how talented they are in the sense where I think Illinois is clearly a more talented team. And I think, Purdue's a more talented team. And I essentially think UCLA is a slightly worse version of what we see against Michigan State. But they're not going to lose the game. They're going to keep at you. And this young Illinois team, this one that we all have nerves about, because how often did we lose that game? How often, and let's be honest, tell me in the chat, how many of you thought, when we were only up 2 points at the end of the game, that, oh boy, that sinking feeling happened. That what's about to, oh no, not again. Don't let this happen now. Not at home. Not at Kofi Cockburn honoring his jersey night. But they didn't. Kasparis made the only way I can describe it was it's a Kasparis shot. When he shot the shot, I was like, what are you doing? And then it goes in. Like, of course, that's what you're doing. That's your Kasparis shot you've shown us. Kylan Boswell, the possession before, I'll get to him in that second segment. But, what was that? But this was a game that clearly, I said this when talking about this week. This week can make or break the season. We're going to really see where Illinois stands in the Big Ten Conference, playing a UCLA team, which was in the top 4, and then what we're going to be playing a Michigan State team. One of you guys can update me on the score on that. I know they're down to Indiana at half currently, but 2 very good basketball teams. And today, if things could have gone a wire, and Illinois could have lost this game to UCLA, and really, after being up 15 at one point, I believe there's only 4.5 minutes left, and they were up 14 or 15 points. If you lose that game there, I'm telling you, the fan base would have erupted. We're all on pins and needles right now because every time we get excited about this team lets us down. And every time we're down, this team pulls us right back up. And today, the momentum has been positive. I've talked about on this show, like I'm slowly more optimistic, and I'm kind of glad that nobody's paying attention to this Illini team anymore, because we can just sit back and watch as the pieces come into place. Hopefully, Tommy's continues to heal up. Hopefully this KJ injury is not something that we have to be concerned about, and that he'll be ready to go against Michigan State. We still don't have a Trey White, who, I think would have been so valuable in this game. You beat UCLA, a team that's 18-6, a very good Big Ten team, without a very important role player in your rotation. This team is getting better. Trey Gibbs, again, I think he's still also a little sick, so I'm not blaming him too much. Once again, that this team isn't completely healthy, because you're talking about, once again, 6 guys played the majority of the minutes today. I'm looking at this box score. I guess the CBS one isn't completely official, so it's just the one I'm using right now. But Jake Davis had 9 minutes. Trey Gibbs Longhorn had 7. But otherwise, essentially everyone else played 20-plus minutes. There was a 6-man rotation that Brad Underwood, went up against the UCLA Bruins, and Illinois won. Let's get to your thoughts right after that. Actually, let's review some of the players right after this. Whether you're tidying up, clearing out, or just want to give your space a new look to start the year, WayFair has everything you need, all within your budget. As most of you know, I just completed a cross country move and I'm looking for furniture, and their huge selection makes it easy to find pieces that fit my style and my budget. My favorite part, the free and hassle free delivery. Even for the larger items, Wayfair's site was so easy to navigate and I found everything I needed in no time. There's something for every style and every home, no matter your space or your budget. Wayfair makes it easy to tackle your New Year's home goals with endless inspiration for every space. Give your home the refresh it needs with Wayfair. Head to wayfair.com right now. That's WAYFAIR.com. Wayfair. Every style, every home. All right. I just want to start off with Tommy Ivisic again. I know this is becoming a super Tommy Ivisic fanboy podcast, but I'm telling you, if you watch basketball, I know Kasparis gets all the publicity, and Will Riley has been on fire as of late. Not a bad game today, too, and I'm going to talk about him in a second. But Tommy is the engine of this train right now, and I just wanted to give him his credit. 5 for 8 from the field goal, 4 for 6 from 3-point land, 2 for 2 free throws. He did have a steal, 4 turnovers, and I believe he had 4 turnovers last game as well. So, I mean, that is kind of becoming an issue. But how many teams in the country can count on their big man as being essentially their second biggest playmaker on the team, right? It's either Kasparis setting up the offense or it's Tommy. And Tommy did make some passes that, if I'm going to put my positive Peter cap on right now, those passes connect against other defenses. UCLA is just a really good defensive team, and UCLA, they lead the country, I think, in turnovers, if not just the conference. And they did their job. They did what they do really well. Illinois, this game, had 14 turnovers, and I believe 9 of them were in the first half. And I kept saying in the Discord, it's like, every time we try to spread it out a little bit, UCLA just gets a turnover, and that was their game plan to win this game. Because I don't think they can match player for player with Illinois, but when Illinois' young players just make mistakes, and again, we love Kasparis for all the creativity that he brings, for the aggressive nature that he brings, but with that, unfortunately, comes with just some like, what are you doing type of plays. And we saw a couple of those today. He had 5 turnovers. Again, this Kasparis, look, 3 games ago, we were complaining that Kasparis Jakushonis was hitting the freshman wall. Today, I'm sitting here complaining about a couple moments for Kasparis, and he finished with 24 points, 8 rebounds, 4 assists on 8 of 14 shooting, 3 of 8 from 3-point land, and in my opinion, most importantly, 5 of 6 from the free throw line. If KJ's back, this team can compete with anybody. Will Riley. Okay, let's take a few minutes to talk about Will Riley now. Not a super flashy box score, 10 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists in 31 minutes. But for whatever reason, I kept my eye on Will most of this game. And today, he absolutely did not look like a freshman. He looked like a veteran. He looked like what Trey White would have looked like out there. And I bring that up because we talked about earlier on in the season how he looked like he was a deer in the headlights. The comparison I always made was he looked like a fifth grade basketball player who's really, really talented, who was allowed to play with his 8th grade brother and his friends. And so he just kind of tried to do too much too fast, and you just wish he would calm down. The game has calmed down for Will, and you can notice it. He looks like he belongs on the court, and this is not even shooting. Right? Scoring is what he does best. Scoring is what he's one of the best in the world when it comes to like his skill set. But today, 5 of 11, 10 points, right? Not a necessarily very efficient scoring night. 3 rebounds, 2 assists. Again, you look at that box score, it's like, oh, ho-hum, okay lineup. But he played defense today. I saw him on the floor twice diving for loose balls. Plays that seemingly I thought were done and over with, Will Riley never gave up on. And that, combined with Kasparis' re-emergence and Tomislav just being the great basketball player he is, those three is what has me so optimistic right now, and why you should be optimistic right now. The Big Ten race is over when it comes to Illinois and winning the conference, but there's other goals. And I still say there's nobody in the conference that can match the three guys when they're on, like Kasparis, Will Riley, and Ivisic. That's just balance. And again, it's not like they all serve a particular role. No, Kasparis is a playmaking scorer. Will Riley is a scoring playmaker. And Tommy Ivisic does everything. And he's a playmaker. What makes this offense so dangerous? Again, 83 points today against a very solid defensive team in UCLA. What makes him so dangerous is a defense can't just sit on the point guard and, hey, you disrupt him, you disrupt the entire offense. No. Kasparis can make plays. Will Riley can make the right pass. Tommy Ivisic always seemingly knows which pass to make. It's a difficult team to guard. And when the shots go in, when the three-point shots go in, forget about it. Imagine 3, 4, 5 more of these three-point shots go in. This game would have been the blow up that it felt like it was going to be. But again, I just want to get back to that. This was a game that Illinois very well could have lost. And I love it. I love my people in the chat saying, even before I got in here, a win is a win is a win. And that's absolutely true. And it's a matter of fact that this win really does matter, because UCLA is a really good basketball team. They've won 7 in a row coming into today. And they never gave up. And they're more of a veteran team than Illinois is. Well, everyone is. And I could have seen a scenario, Sky Clark with that clutch three-pointer at the end of the game. And imagine if this game went into overtime, the nerves of this Illinois fan base. But they didn't. Illinois just, hey, let's give credit to the number one detracting comment we always make about Brad Underwood is the inbounds pass. Right? We knew UCLA was going to press. They always do. That's how they cause so much havoc. That's how they cause so much turnovers. And Illinois pulled off one of the most incredible press breaking plays I've ever seen in my 30+ years of watching basketball. It was just perfectly executed. And we almost did it again just a minute after. All right, let's get to your guys' thoughts right after this. $34 likes when we have 140 people in here. Come on, guys. The mood's got to be better. Let's hit that like button while we can. Make sure you're subscribed. Again, before I got into here, we had 2,099 subs on YouTube. Let's get to 2,100 at the very least. Let me know if you are number 2,100. And again, the vibes are great. This is a must-win game in some sense, right? A win against UCLA kind of legitimizes that there's a potential for a turnaround happening. Now, that game against Michigan State, honoring Terrence Shannon Jr., I mean, all eyes on that. It's a game where we all have a really bad taste in our mouth, and that's why I'm desperately hoping that KJ's not hurt, because I want a healthy KJ against Michigan State. We've already seen what happens when we have to play one of the best teams in the conference without KJ. I want a KJ redemption game, a game where the referees don't take him out. So if, for some reason he misses the game, that would be disappointing. All right, let's go. Let's go to the chat. Justin says a win is a win is a win. Exactly. You're right, guys. Philip says ILL. William asking a question I asked myself as I was watching the game. Why were they shooting threes rather than driving when they were in the bonus? Go at guys and get fouled. I did notice, in particular in that second half, we resorted to just taking three-pointers again for no reason. That Kylan Boswell play with, I believe, about a minute left, there's no way anyone could have drawn that play up. And that's the type of play where at some point when they're reviewing tape, Brad's got to look at Kylan and be like, that's not a good shot. Like, I know you're 20 years old, like you're in your third year of college basketball now. We need the ball in Kasparis' hand, we need the ball in Tommy's hand, or Will Riley's hand. Let one of them make the play. Don't just dribble around and do the step back 3-pointer. It's never worked. Maybe it worked against teams like Eastern Illinois earlier in the year, and that got your confidence up. But it's not going to work right now in the toughest, most grueling stretch of the Illinois schedule that we're about to go under. Jason, nice to see you. UCLA shot the lights out and we beat them. Great win. Yeah, I mean, UCLA did, but more so Bilodeau. I mean, it was one of those where I literally saw, as the game was coming to an end, a scenario where UCLA would have stolen this victory, and this entire chat, and I know you guys know who you are, would have been, talking about how Brad just did not make the adjustment, and why not just guard the one guy who just can't stop missing. And you know what? I would have come on here and been like, I wish I had an answer. 7 for 12 from 3-point land for Bilodeau. Just an incredible performance. At one point, I'm screaming, both in the Discord and at my big screen over here, like, just guard him. But, it's just Underwood. He's, as much as I support him, one of his big flaws is sometimes he's just a little too late when it comes to making these adjustments. And I'm really glad that that's not the post-game show that I have to do right now. Mike says they should not have taken their foot off the gas. Yeah, again, it's just shooting the threes. If you just kept doing what you were doing, you would have been fine. But it's just a setback. It seemed like the team got a little lackadaisical, and that's why this victory to me is so important for the Illini. They taught themselves how to win a game today. Not just simply blowing a Big Ten team out by 25, 30 points. You don't really learn anything from those type of game environments. You're just the better team that day. But right now, today, they learned how to win a game. They know now what it's going to feel like when the Big Ten tournament comes. When March hits and you're in round 2 and you're up 3 points in a rabid environment. They got a glimpse of that today, and they went out and won the game from a team that wasn't going to give it to you. This truly is one of the better wins that we're going to have this season. KJ all day over Sky. That isn't even a legitimate question. 7 points average to a lottery pick. Underwood knows his stuff. Global says just did not like some of the terrible shot decisions. So we're all in the same boat here. We all saw the same game. At the end, yeah, it's just I think it's going to be something that they're going to review at some point, because it was sloppy. It should not have come down to this. You're up 15 with 4 minutes left, and then UCLA makes an 8-0 run, I believe it was 10-0 run, and all of a sudden the nerves kick in, and you have just dumb plays. You mentioned the Kylan one. That's just the one that sticks out to me. And yeah. Ross says Mick Cronin also cost his team 2 points on that nonsense technical coach of the year material. Yeah, I will admit, I do wish Brad would do that, though. I feel like sometimes I miss old Brad, crazy Brad, in some sort of ways. I think this team could have used it earlier on in this year, especially in a game like that Michigan State game, when it seemed like everybody was against Illinois, including the refs. I feel like that's where I would have appreciated a Brad eruption. Now, this technical wasn't a Mick Cronin eruption. He has those. This was kind of, I'll be honest, a soft technical. And look, if I'm going to be honest about us getting gypped against Michigan State by the refs, I'm going to tell and be honest that we got a very soft whistle today. In a lot of cases, I think Illinois was you got the home court cooking, let's just put it that way, from the Big Ten refs. And so, again, I can acknowledge both sides. It's unfortunate that some of our fellow fan bases can't. Jason says, I wanted between 20 to 25 threes. 28 was a touch high. I agree. Again, when you hit only 11 of 28, at some point you just need to make the adjustment. Okay, yeah, this is not. Okay, early in the game, fine. Let's see what happens. But if it's not happening at the end of the game, it's time to switch to something else. A couple more right after this. Ross says, I've given up home on the perimeter passing for a 3-point chuck up where they missed the broadside of the barn. Fred says, great pass from Will to Kylan to Tommy to seal the game. Beautiful pass. I'm telling you, that's the type of play that's going to be shown, in that March reel. When we talk about the season review, when the season is over, hopefully after a national championship, but even if not, like the Illini social media team, who are fantastic at their job, they do what they do, they're going to have that play because you can see the smile on everyone's faces. That's exactly what you want to see. St. Coffin says the prospect from Italy was probably there tonight. He was there tonight. You are correct. He's a 7'3" center that plays like Ivisic. To imagine him watching this game, witnessing Tommy have his way tonight. Probably met Kofi too. You're right on. And spoiler alert, that's going to be the topic of my episode on Thursday. I'm going to be working on that. Again, there's just so much content when it comes to the world of Illini sports right now. If you aren't subscribed already, please do. Again, we're up to 57 likes, still 130 people in here. So let's hit that like button so other Illini fans see it. There's still has not been one day this calendar year that I have not produced some piece of Illini content for you guys. So please, I continue to appreciate your guys' support each and every day. Jeffrey says Tommy being on is so crucial. It's one of those where I know I'm kind of patting myself on the back, but I don't mean to. But I used to say it. I said it earlier that he was the most irreplaceable player on this team because of what he provided. And even when I'd have guests on, and just go back and take a look, every time I mentioned that, they'd have a interesting type of look. Reaction to me saying that, but I'm just like, he's just such an all-around talent, and not just offensively. We see his passes, we see his 3-point shooting, but on defense, he truly is the quarterback of this defense, and this is a defense which is one of the better ones in the country. And the fact, I devoted an entire episode to him on Sunday about just how much of a warrior he is. Like, even when he's hurt, even when he's not feeling good, he knows. Like, he doesn't want to disappoint his teammates, so he's always out there. And, when your teammates are all 18 years old, 19 years old, and you see your leader, what I kind of assume is like a locker room leader, doing that, think of the message that sends. And I'm glad that everyone else is kind of catching up to this Tommy love right now. And, again, it's hearing Steven Bardo, a guy who I've always looked up to. Again, he's been on the show. Say the same thing. It was truly, truly an honor. Speaking of, Rossi says, yeah, I'm all in on Tommy. I'm beginning to think he's the most valuable asset. Philip says Indiana is destroying the MSU offense with the zone defense. Is that right? I don't know the score right now, so now you're getting me kind of excited. Lazy Force Gump says 11-28, 39%. Any team will take that all day long. Yeah, I guess you're right. I didn't do the math in my head. 39% is not too bad. Right on. I was wrong. Jeffrey says, Illini fan and a Cardinal fan, 2 stars. Gross. All right. 17-8. I say we end up 8-13 seed. Are you talking about our seed in March? I think if we end up in 8, that's kind of a worst case scenario. But maybe I'm too optimistic about this basketball team. I still think that we can end up getting a 5 seed. And that's going to be crucial, guys, because I think we need an easy win. And I do that with air quotes for that first game, because I don't know how much I trust how up and down this team is. And if we're stuck, playing a 9 seed or a 10 seed in the first round, well, this very well could be an early exit for this basketball team. Jeffrey says Los Angeles here, but Illini grad and Decatur native. Well, welcome, Jeffrey. Chief Yang Music says you just have to accept someone on the opposing team to have their best game against us. I don't know if they're coming in with their Bibles or just eating their Lucky Charms before the games. Yeah, this is kind of a growing trend with Illinois. We had it earlier this season multiple times. I think it was the Pens, was it? No. USC had a kid just go off against us, and I know there's one that I'm definitely not thinking of. But all right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Again, 130 people. I appreciate each and every one of you. I've got another big story coming out on Wednesday. We've got some really big-time recruits who were there at the game today watching. Again, 7'3" center who watched Tommy do what Tommy did, who gets a chance to see, hey, Kofi Cockburn, This is how Illinois, again, here's another spoiler alert to another episode sometime this week. Recruits today saw what happens at Illinois when you give it your best. When you produce here, you're honored. Okay. It's not contingent on you winning a national championship. No, if you're a good basketball player, if you're a good student and you work your butt off while wearing the orange and blue, you'll be taken care of by the Illini administration, the program, the fans. And, I guess that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wrap it up saying, I appreciate Kofi Cockburn. I'm really glad he got to come back to the State Farm Center today. I'm glad the Crush gave him an absolute warm reception. I can't wait to talk about Terrence Shannon Jr. on Saturday. Let me know what your favorite Terrence Shannon Jr. moment is that you think of. And again, I'll have more content for you later this week. Until next time, ILL. Love you guys.